And we're back for more NBA predictions here on the channel. Today is Friday, January 31st, and we have got, I believe, 7 games in the association today. I think it's 7, yeah. And we've got 2 big games on ESPN today, I guess. The Denver Nuggets going to Philly to take on, right now, a hot Philadelphia 76ers team, and then also a game in San Francisco, the Warriors coming off their big victory the other night over the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're going to be taking on Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. So we've got 7 games today, and folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel. Yesterday, we went 5-0 on the NBA picks, cashing big money underdogs like the Portland Trail Blazers at home against the Orlando Magic. So make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you do want more NBA daily predictions here on the channel. Also, go make sure to check out our college basketball best bets that was posted earlier today. If we get 100 likes on that video today, we will post 10 best bets for February 1st's games, obviously on Saturday. So again, if we get 100 likes on that video today with college basketball best bets, we will give you 10 best bets instead of 5 tomorrow here on the channel. And also, make sure to go check out our UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia predictions. Israel Adesanya takes on Nasruddin Imavov in the main event from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That card is tomorrow morning, so make sure to check out that video in the link down below to check that one out. All right. On now to the first of our 7 NBA games here today, and we're going to start things off here at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, between the Charlotte Hornets and the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm going with the Los Angeles minus 13.5. The Hornets are very injured going into this one. LaMelo Ball is out for at least a week, and don't get me started on the All-Star Game snubs. LaMelo Ball was snubbed. Trae Young was snubbed. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand how Tyler Hero... And I guess, again, I think Garland's a good player, but I don't know how you say Garland and Hero are all-stars over Ball and Trae Young. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is horrible. I do think as well, though, the All-Star game, I mean, we put 15 guys on a team every year in the NBA. I mean, the least we could do is expand the All-Star rosters to 14. I think they should go to 15, honestly. You're not going to devalue guys being All-Stars by doing that. You're just rewarding the guys who are snubs every single year, and how that seems to be Trae Young almost every single year. So, I don't know. And also, like, Norman Powell's not an All-Star. I don't know. Like, again, I think Harden's been impressive this year, but I'll be honest with you guys, I think Norman Powell should be an All-Star over James Harden. Now, they've both been playing great basketball, but that's the thing. If you expand the All-Star game to 14 or 15, then both Harden and Powell are All-Stars, and nobody's got a problem with it. I don't know. The Hornets are screwed here tonight. No LaMelo Ball. Josh Green might not play. Mark Williams is out. Obviously, he's not a member of the Hornets anymore, but Terry Rozier just got busted, I guess, for illegally gambling on his own games, like Jonte Porter last year, so that's something. Anyways, I like the Clippers in the spot, minus 13.5 on the road. They should be able to cover this line fairly easily. The Hornets are very injured, and the Clippers just aren't. Obviously, they've got their entire starting lineup healthy for this game. Harden, Powell, Kawhi seems like he's playing tomorrow or today. Derek Jones Jr. and Ivica Zubac, who's another guy who was like borderline snubbed for the All-Star game, but I don't think it's as big of a snub as Norman was, obviously, as well. I have the Clippers obviously in the spot. I think they're right now, they're 6th in the West, I think. Yeah, because the Lakers are 5. And hey, don't look now. The Lakers, basically the same record as the Nuggets right now. They're only 4 games out the 2 seed. I'm just saying, watch out for the Lakers. Yesterday, I gave you the trade proposal. Rui Hachimura, big night last night. Rui Hachimura, Jalen Hood-Schifino, 2 first-round picks, and Stormin' Norman Nixon. His history goes to the Utah Jazz. You can make Stormin' Norman Nixon a Utah Jazz legend. That's what the Lakers should be offering right now. 2 first-round picks isn't enough? Okay, we'll give you a legend, and we'll give you 2 players as well. Anyways, yeah, I like the Clippers here pretty easily. The Hornets aren't very good as it is. And then without LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller obviously still being out, the number 2 overall pick a couple years ago, yeah, the Hornets are screwed. You guys really know their way to put this game. Los Angeles will cover this game, and they will win it, obviously, as well in Charlotte. I like the Clippers minus 13.5. This is a national blowout association type game. Next up, we move to Detroit, Michigan. We have the Detroit Pistons taking on the Dallas Mavericks. I like the Pistons in this spot. I know they've lost 3 straight games going into this one. They lost their Malice in the Palace rivalry game against the Indiana Pacers the other night, with Isaiah Stewart obviously getting ejected from that basketball game. And they have lost 3 in a row, again, losing to Indiana in Indianapolis, losing to Cleveland in Ohio, and losing to Orlando in Florida. But again, those are tough games. They start off the road trip really hot. And I had high expectations for the rest of that road trip. They win the first 2 against Houston and Atlanta. We were thinking, oh crap, what are they going to do against the Magic, Cavs, and Pacers? Well, they get swept in those 3 games. Now they return home, though, for 6 in a row. And you gotta think they're gonna come out hot coming into this game here against the Mavs. The Pistons as a whole still are pretty solid this year. Cade Cunningham's been great, obviously. Jalen Duren's been good, and we'll see when Jaden Ivey's coming back. I still think he's got a couple more weeks at least until he returns from that injury. But for the Dallas Mavericks, a team that, again, is, around 500 as well. A team that's just been trying to find their footing recently. They had a, very competitive basketball game the other night in New Orleans, barely edging out the New Orleans Pelicans 137-136. PJ Washington led their team in points, rebounds, and assists in that game with 25, 14, and 8. But again, it's just it's a Mavericks team that's just struggling with a bunch of injuries, obviously, with Luka Doncic being out for the foreseeable future still. Or actually, they're saying he's going to be back before the All-Star break. That's big for the Mavs. But Maxi Kleber likely out for most of the year, if not the rest of the year. Derek Lively out for at least a month. They've just got so many injuries piling up, and I think with them going on the road here in Detroit against the Pistons team that should be pretty fired up after losing their rivalry game to the Pacers. I don't know, it kind of feels like a one-sided rivalry, honestly. It feels like the Pistons hate the Pacers more than the Pacers hate them. I'll just be honest with you, because the Pacers have been a lot more successful than the Pistons over the last couple of years, but it's neither here or there. Hey, Indiana keeps climbing those rankings, man. Keeps climbing the standings. Indiana, soon to be the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, just saying. Anyways, give me the Pistons at home. I think they're able to beat Dallas. The Mavericks, again, these injuries are going to take its toll eventually. Sure, they've won 2 in a row, but now you got to go to Detroit. Give me the Pistons in the spot at home at the Little Caesars Arena to beat and cover here against the Dallas Mavericks. Next up, we move to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Denver Nuggets. I actually think the Sixers have potential to win this game. Believe it or not, I wouldn't put it past Philadelphia to straight up win this game. The way that Tyrese Maxey has been playing recently, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sixers are able to pull one out here. I will still go with the Nuggets to win, but the play that we like here is Philadelphia on the spread, which means Sixers plus 8.5. I don't mind that. Obviously, again, the Sixers still missing 3 of their starters with Paul George, Caleb Martin, Joel Embiid. But I mean, hell, you've had guys like Justin Edwards and Gershon Yabusele come right into the starting lineup and play really well for them. And obviously, Yabusele has been great all season long, coming off the bench and in certain spots in the starting lineup as well for Philadelphia. And that's just been the thing for the Sixers all year long. It's just been these injuries, obviously. It started with, Joel Embiid at the beginning of the year, Paul George, then Jared McCain, obviously. I mean, there's been so many injuries for the Sixers team, but Tyrese Maxey has been willing this team to victory over the last couple games on a 4-game winning streak now. They win that big game last Friday against the Cavaliers. They go to Chicago, second half of a back-to-back, and beat the Bulls. They beat the Lakers and Kings in back-to-back nights, and now here on ESPN, they host the Denver Nuggets. Now, it would have been really exciting to see the last 2 MVPs get to play in this game, Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, but obviously Embiid doesn't play these type of games, so it's fine. Embiid's just still hurt, I guess. But PG should be back soon. I'd expect Paul George to be back on Sunday when the Sixers take on the Boston Celtics. But, Philadelphia won their big losing streak. They lost, 8 in a row. They're now, I believe, tied for the 10 spot. They have the same record as the Chicago Bulls do. So if the Sixers win tonight and the Bulls lose, which we'll get to Chicago in a little bit, then the Philadelphia 76ers will be back in the play-in, which is crazy because they are 8 games under 500. But, this small push, you don't want to see this team in the play-in. You don't. A fully healthy Sixers team? No, you don't want to see this team in the play-in. I don't think Jared McCain could potentially come back for the postseason, but still, you're going to get Paul George, you're going to get Joel Embiid, and obviously Maxey, who's been excellent all year long. Yeah, you don't want to see this team in the play-in, especially if you are the Hawks, if you are the Pistons, if you are the Heat, the Magic. One of those teams obviously will get into the top 6, but if you're one of those squads, you don't want to see Philadelphia in here. They're, obviously you much rather see a Chicago Bulls team in the play-in than the Sixers. I think the Sixers have a chance to win this game, especially the way that the Nuggets just seem to not play defense. I think there is value. I'm not going to lie. I think there is value in plus 290 for the 76ers. The much safer play, though, is plus 8.5. Denver's lost 3 in a row, right? In Minnesota, in Chicago, in New York. They continue the road trip in Philadelphia here. They've been on the road for a very long time. And again, what kills Denver in a lot of games is just they don't play great defensive basketball. If Tyrese Maxey is one of those nights, put him on Jamal Murray probably, we'll see. Maybe they'll put Russ on him, but still, Tyrese might have a night. I don't think Philadelphia straight up wins it because I do think Denver's still the better team, but there's definitely a chance the 76ers can win this game. Again, given the way the Nuggets have been playing recently and the lack of defense that Denver has, yeah, there's a very good possibility that the Sixers could pull this one off. But again, we are taking the more conservative play. We're going plus 8.5 in this one for the Philadelphia 76ers at home against the Denver Nuggets. Next up, we move to that aforementioned game between the Chicago Bulls and their opponents, the Toronto Raptors. So Toronto and Portland right now, I would say, are the hottest bad teams in basketball, right? Toronto's been playing lights out recently. Obviously, we saw Portland with another victory last night, beating the Orlando Magic at the Moda Center, beating them by 30 points in that game as well. And Toronto's another team right now that is on fire. They're on a 5-game winning streak, wins in back-to-back in Atlanta, beating the Magic and Pelicans at home, and then most recently going to Washington and destroying that horrible Washington Wizards team. But hey, look at Bronny, man. I told you guys yesterday Bronny was going to score. What did he do? 5 points for Bronny James Jr. He now is the all-time leading percentage shooter in free throws in NBA history. Bronny James, minimum 5 attempts. Minimum 5 attempts. Bronny James now is the record. Okay? Bronny James is in the record books, man. 5 for 5. Doesn't get better than that. Anyways, the Toronto Raptors won 5 in a row. The Toronto Raptors now, somehow, some way, are only 4 games out of the play-in, and they are 17 games under 500. They were 10-32. Now they're 15-32. Now, do I think the Raptors are going to make the play-in? No, but it is nice to see this young core at the Raptors. Obviously, we're talking about Barrett, Dick, and Barnes show up. They've been great. I think they beat the Bulls. I think they do. They are minus 185 favorites. They are 4.5-point favorites at home. And yeah, I do think they cover that. Guys, Chicago's been miserable recently. I mean, they beat the Nuggets, which is weird. But, they go to Boston. They get blown out. This team doesn't play well on the road. They're a much better team at the United Center than they are on the road. We saw them go to Golden State and go to San Francisco and get killed by that Warriors team without Steph Curry. So it's just, I can't trust Chicago. Again, the Bulls have made it known everyone is for sale. So we are expecting against Chicago to completely get rid of all of these guys. I think it's a matter of time before Zach LaVine eventually gets traded. LaVine is still going to be out for a couple games, again, with personal reasons. So I highly doubt he made the trip all the way to Toronto for this game. So you take away the Bulls' best player in Zach LaVine, and you've got the Raptors who have been playing good basketball recently. I think, again, everything to me points towards the Raptors winning this game. And again, especially with the Raptors team that has been playing really good basketball in Toronto, right? We saw the Warriors go to Toronto and lose. We saw the Celtics go to Toronto and lose. I think they're able to get Chicago in the spot, especially a Bulls team without their best player. So give me the Toronto Raptors at home to win and cover the 4.5 points against the Chicago Bulls, officially putting the Philadelphia 76ers back in to the play-in spot for now. Next up, we move to the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, as we got the New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Boston Celtics. Boston is 10.5-point favorites on the road in this game. Hesitantly, I'll take them to cover. Now, the report came out today from Zion Williamson that obviously this is not a back-to-back for New Orleans. They actually don't play all the way till Monday after this in their back-to-back spot against Denver on the 3rd and the 5th. But Zion said that he works for the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Pelicans don't want him to play back-to-back games. It's crazy. On back-to-back nights, obviously. But it's crazy how that works. It's a weird league, man. New Orleans, obviously, I mean, this season has been put to bed for a while. They are, 24 games under 500. They are 12-36. So it's, whatever. They're not trying to win this season. I'd stay away from the spot. Boston sometimes can get tricky on the road. They underperform sometimes on the road. What Boston's been doing recently, they play teams that they're supposed to cover against, and they just keep them close. Like the Clippers game, that Clippers game where they were playing against a Clippers team without Harden, Powell, and Leonard, and Zubac, I think, was still out that game. They took the Clippers to overtime and won the game by 4 points. They went to crypto and got blown out by the Lakers. They played a somewhat competitive game against a shorthanded Mavericks team, right? I wouldn't trust Boston to go on the road and cover against anybody. But at the same time, they're still playing the Pelicans, who I know, again, they've been better recently, but they go on their 4-game winning streak with everyone back, and then they drop 4 in a row to the Grizz, to the Hornets, to the Raptors, and to the Mavs. And yes, they played the Mavs very competitively the other night, losing 137-136. But now, again, it's a big difference playing that Mavs team right now without Luka, without Lively, to take it on the Boston Celtics, who are one of the best teams in basketball. Obviously, with Tatum, who's been excellent this year, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis and company. Yeah, it's a big difference taking on a team like the Mavs and now hosting Boston. DeJounte Murray, game time decision in this one, we'll see. But I would take Boston here to cover 10.5, but there are better games to bet on than the Boston Celtics going to New Orleans. Again, it's that whole thing. Boston they do play competitive basketball and they go on the road. They haven't been great recently, obviously. Hell, they hosted the Rockets and Houston went in there and beat them, a game that we said that was going to happen in, but I don't know. I'd stay away if I had to make a pick. Yes, Boston minus 10.5, but trust me, again, there are better games to bet on today than this one right here. So give me Boston, but again, I would stay away personally. Next up, we move to San Antonio, Texas, as we have the San Antonio Spurs hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis versus Wemby, two of the, I can't call Giannis a young star anymore, he's 30 years old, but two of the better international stars there, I'll say it. I think that's probably the better way to, there's a lot of international stars in the league now. Hell, all the top players are international now when you think about it, right? Most of them, right? Giannis, Wemby, Shea is Canadian, Luka, obviously. Team USA is still the best team in basketball, obviously, in the Olympics, but the international talent pool keeps on evolving in the NBA regardless. The San Antonio Spurs have lost 5 out of their last 6 games, the only win being in Paris against the Indiana Pacers. They win that first game against Indiana in Paris, and they drop back-to-back again against that Pacers team, and then they returned home to San Antonio and ended up losing to the Los Angeles Clippers by 12 points. I know the Bucks are coming off a loss in Portland, but it's weird. Portland's playing really good basketball right now. Again, we talk about Portland. Their guard play has been excellent. Yes, Scoot Henderson, again, led them in scoring last night against the Orlando Magic. Shaedon Sharp's been doing his thing off the bench, and obviously Anfernee Simons has been the leader of that basketball team. So, again, I wouldn't really put too much value into, Milwaukee lost in Portland. Well, a lot of teams right now are losing in Portland to the Blazers. They did lose to the Clippers the other night, but again, the Clippers are a very good team in the top 6 right now in the Western Conference. I'd expect this game to be a competitive one, but a game that the Bucks can get away from. San Antonio has been playing, worse basketball as the season has gone on. They are going through a little bit of a slump right now, and I wouldn't really say it's Wembanyama's fault. It's just, again, we've thought eventually that the supporting cast around Wembanyama was going to falter a little bit, and obviously that's kind of what's happening right now. Wemby's averaging 24.5, but then you get Vassell is averaging 16, Sochan, who's been injured, averaging 12, Keldon Johnson off the bench is averaging 12. It's just, Stephon Castle's doing his thing. He'll be in the slam dunk contest this year as well, but it's not a consistent supporting cast around Victor Wembanyama. So we can't trust San Antonio to win these games. I get it. Again, Milwaukee's coming off a loss to Portland, but believe it or not, right now, going to Portland is very difficult to do. So I don't mind the Bucks in the spot. Again, Giannis is going to be Giannis. He's going to do his thing. Even in the loss against the Blazers, Giannis with 39 and 12. Again, the guy is just that good. Damian Lillard, is he an all-star for Trae Young and LaMelo Ball? Probably not. Again, who's more deserving, Dame or Darius Garland? Maybe Garland. Low-key, he's been very good for the Cavs this season, and obviously the Cavs have, the best record in the Eastern Conference. I think you can make the case that Dame should have been the one to get snubbed this season. I don't know. And the thing is, all right, say there is an alternate spot that opens up. Who gets it, LaMelo or Trae? It's probably going to be LaMelo, right? So just Trae needs 2 guys to get hurt to make the All-Star game this year. Obviously, he made it last year as a replacement, but it looks like Trae Young's just not going to be an All-Star this season, which is absolutely ridiculous because the guy averages 12 assists a game, and he scores 24 a night. How can you average 24 and 12 and not be an All-Star? And LaMelo definitely should be an All-Star as well. It's so dumb. It's just, hey, if you had 14 spots in the All-Star game, both those guys are in. Right? It's just whatever. Anyways, I'm taking Milwaukee in this spot. San Antonio's just been too inconsistent recently, and they're too Wemby focused, which isn't bad, but they just don't have nothing. They have nothing around Wemby. So maybe they get De'Aaron Fox. I don't know. We'll see. But give me Milwaukee in San Antonio, Texas to beat the Spurs as we go on to our final game of the night as we go to the Chase Center in San Francisco, California, as we have the Golden State Warriors on ESPN taking on the Phoenix Suns. Give me Golden State. Give me Golden State. Yeah, I'm going to take the Warriors here at home. The Suns have been playing better ball, but you know what? I was impressed with the Warriors' last game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, I was at that game a couple nights ago, and they've now won 3 of 4, right? They beat Chicago at home, they lose to the Lakers at home, but then they won back-to-back on back-to-back nights, obviously, against Utah and against OKC, who's the best team in the league. Steph's still good in spots. Obviously, there were very long stretches in that game against OKC where Curry wasn't able to score, but the bench and the supporting cast around Curry has stepped up recently. Again, Wiggins has been great all year long. I believe is how close is Kuminga to being back? Still got a little bit of time away. Draymond Green, I believe, is still out for this game. But again, Gary Payton, obviously, with the game-clinching dunk. That was crazy over Isaiah Hartenstein last night. I was behind the basket for that, obviously. Buddy Hield was, okay. Schroeder had his spots. Podziemski was really good last night as well. And Moses Moody, Guy Santos, Quentin Post. I mean, these guys are not horrible on this Warriors team. Again, do I think they go far in the postseason? Do I think they even make the plan? Probably not. But right now in this spot, yes, I will take Golden State to beat Phoenix against a Phoenix team that is just, who knows what the hell you're going to get out the Suns. Some nights they're great. Some nights it's just Kevin Durant and not Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. That's kind of every night. I don't trust Phoenix to go on the road and win. Primetime spot, I don't trust it. And then Phoenix goes to Portland after this for 2 games. They're not going to get both of those. They're going to lose a game in Portland, and they got to go OKC on Wednesday night. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really like the Suns at all right now. I know they've been winning, but they haven't been beating the best teams, with the exception of the Los Angeles Clippers, obviously. But, again, this is not a very good road team this season. The Suns have lost a lot of games on the road this year. I mean, hell, look at all their road games in 2025 this year. Loss in Indiana. They beat Philly. They lose in Charlotte. They lose in Atlanta. They beat Washington and Detroit on the road. They go to Cleveland and lose. Like, this is not a very good road team. I get it. It's not that far of a trip, obviously, from Phoenix, Arizona, up to the Bay Area, Northern California. But still, I like the Golden State Warriors. Curry is dealing with an injury, but Curry's been still decent. Obviously, had some big-time shots the other night against OKC. I like the Golden State Warriors to win this basketball game against the Phoenix Suns. The line is literally even, so we're not even going to worry about a spread. I don't even know who the 1.5 point favorite is. I think it's the Warriors, but still, again, just take the money line. We like Warriors minus 110 in the spot. Again, the game's exactly even. We're going to take the Warriors to win this one at home against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and the Phoenix Suns. Maybe Jimmy Butler is here soon. I don't know. I don't think it helps at all. And wouldn't Bradley Beal have to waive the no trade clause? I think. I don't know. We'll stay away from that. Give me the Golden State Warriors here in the nightcap on ESPN over the Phoenix Suns. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions here for January 31st. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.